Hello everyone and everything and Quirrell once again, and welcome back to more Hollow Knight. I am so excited for this one because we get to explore the City of Tears, and that is just a treat. This city looks to be built into an enormous cavern, and the rain pours down from cracks in the stone above. There must be a lot of water up there somewhere. I suppose if the cave roof stayed strong this long, it should hold for us. Before I leave this kingdom, I'd like to see where all that water comes from. What a sight it must be. What a sight indeed. We'll have to look out for it ourselves. Now, before we get too deep into this episode, I want to point out my health bar is evidently a classic mode health bar and not a steel soul mode health bar. And that is because something absolutely terrible happened. No, I did not die. It was worse than that. I forgot to hit record, which is just agonizing. It's a pain that I can't really convey properly. So I've started up a new file here with far fewer things to get my way back to where we are now. These are the only charms I've gotten. I have not gotten any mask shards, no vessel fragments, nothing like that. But we're gonna work with what we got, because it's all I have. Not to worry, though, because I am in a good mood that we get to explore the City of Tears. Everything is going to be back to normal in the next episode. We'll be back on my main file, but for now, this one's going to be sort of a surrogate file. I will do my best to show off everything as equivalently as I would have otherwise. Welcome to the City of Tears proper. An utterly beautiful and haunting area. I completely adore just the aesthetic of rain. Whether you're inside or outside, just seeing a storm and hearing rain, it puts me to sleep, personally. I adore that feeling. These enemies here are called, I believe, Husk Sentries. And they are fairly threatening. Rather tanky. Oh, hello. Again we meet, little ghost. I'm normally quite perceptive. You I underestimated, though I've since guessed the truth. You've seen beyond this kingdom's bounds. Yours is resilience born of two voids. It's no surprise, then, you've managed to reach the heart of this world. In doing so, you shall know the sacrifice that keeps it standing. If, knowing that truth, you'd still attempt a role in Hallownest's perpetuation, seek the grave in ash, and the mark it would grant to one like you. Well, that's the kindest she's been to us so far. Let's see what she's talking about. Memorial to the Hollow Knight. In the black vault far above, through its sacrifice, Hallownest lasts eternal. If we had a map, that would mark the location of the Temple of the Black Egg on it. Unfortunately, the map is one of those casualties that suffered in my haste to get here. I'll show just how much haste that was. I got back to the City of Tears in 45 minutes, which I am quite proud of, even if that would bring shame to any speedrunner. I am very proud that I did it that quickly. Ow. But I was super hasty about things. I skipped pretty much everything that it was possible for me to skip. And included in that was any conversation with Cornifer and all of his maps. But I do want to talk about that memorial we just saw. Evidently, the Temple of the Black Egg houses the creature called the Hollow Knight. And this is an interesting revelation. I love when games do this, where you find out that you are not the titular main character. Evidently, the Hollow Knight is something beyond our current knowledge and understanding. But that's okay. We'll find out. Have you brought me another nail to be honed? Leave it on the ground and return later, if you're still breathing. Oh, I thought you were someone else. After a nailsmith, are you? Well, you found one. I'm not much for talk, but if it's a nail that needs repair, then you've come to the right bug. Your own nail is in quite a sorry state. It's obviously not one of mine. Still, anything can be refined with enough effort and skill, even that broken blade. If you'd like, I can reforge your nail. It'll make the blade far more deadly. This is such a worthwhile upgrade. Let's pay it without a second thought. As you wish, I'll get to work then. There we go. The reforging is complete. I've honed your nail's edge. You'll find it much stronger than it used to be. Head out there and test its strength against your foes. That we shall do. That upgrade is significant. It raises our nail's base damage from 5 to 9, nearly doubling it, which is absolutely incredible. On top of that, if you have fragile strength and are using it, yikes, that is going to make it so that the fragile strength increases it from 9 to, I believe, 14, which is absolutely crazy. There's just so much. While we're out here in the main plaza, we can see that the amount of damage it takes to take down those husk sentries has reduced. But more importantly, if we leave that elevator early, we'll find these winged sentries. You'll notice I also don't have the Hunter's Journal for the time being, and that's okay as well. Sorry about that little cut there. My phone went off. I just forgot to silence it. No worries there, though. Unfortunately, I did completely lose my train of thought. I think I was talking about the Hunter's Journal and the fact that I don't have it for the moment, but that's just going to be another thing that will be back to normal next episode. It isn't a huge deal for now. At the top of all this scaffolding, we find another Hallownest seal. This whole scaffolding situation is kind of funny, because anytime we've seen platforms floating like this, we've been able to reasonably assume that they're attached to the back of whatever chamber we're in. Here, that is absolutely not the case. They are just floating out here in nothingness somehow. Apparently, apparently those in the City of Tears were really good engineers to come up with something like that. Up here, we'll find a secondary entry to this upper floor. And this out, I believe, is called, I'm afraid I can't quite remember if it's a giant husk or a heavy husk. Or maybe a giant sentry or heavy sentry. I really kind of wish I'd picked up the Hunter's Journal now, not gonna lie. That's okay, though. Hop on up here and get some more Geo. Never missed my Gatherflies so much. And over here we'll find something very important.
Son?
Aye, aye. Come searching for rare items, have you? Well, hands off. This collection is mine, and I won't be selling to grubby little wanderers. Still, I imagine you come across many interesting items in your travels. Maybe you'd care to part with some. I'll offer a fair trade for each.
Velmi Ardred.
This is Lem, a relic seeker. He will buy any of the junk that we've been gathering up that doesn't seem to have any clear purpose. As you can see, I have not gotten as many as I did in my proper file. In my proper file, I had 1 of these, 5 of these, and 1 King's Idol, which we found in Deep Nest. But not to worry. We'll just sell them what we have. A Wanderer's Journal, eh? Though they're common finds about the kingdom, I much enjoy the deciphering of their text. Read together, they paint a morbid tale. It seems fate was unkind to most who travel within Hallownest's ruin.
Velmi Ardred.
A Hallownest seal, eh? Very interesting, this. Did you know the kingdom's 5 great knights? They're revered figures of Hallownest, often mentioned in the annals of the kingdom, but only as a group. Both their names and appearance have seemed to be expunged from history. So long has passed since their time. It'd be a grand achievement to discover their identities.
Bellamy Ardred. Oh,
Another
God.
Hallownest seal. Pass it over. I enjoy collecting their like, but there's little information to be gleaned of each. Mind you, they do keep a nice shine about them, and there's nothing wrong with appreciating something purely on aesthetic merits.
Helma Delkin.
Looks like you don't have any relics on you. If you manage to find any in good condition, bring them to me and I'll give you a fair amount of geo for them. As I said, I had 3 more Hallownest relics and a King's Idol in my main file. I'm going to show what the text he says for each of those are on the screen right now. You can pause should you wish to know. I recommend reading the King's Idol one. It is an interesting bit of information. More importantly, however, the King's Idols sell for 800 geo each. So you may be wondering, just what is the point of the relics? Are they just money? Can they be used for anything else? I'll tell you right now, their only purpose is to be sold to Lem. There is nothing else you can do with them. Holding on to them, collecting them for later, it does not have any there's no reason to do something like that. They are only for selling. The only reason you might want to hold on to them is to make sure you don't drop them upon death. Unlike money, you keep them even when you die and respawn. However, since we have the advantages of being in Steel Soul mode, not now, of course, but I do want to stop mentioning that every time it comes up, we do not have to worry about that. So I will be selling all of my relics absolutely indiscriminately whenever we are in the neighborhood and have access to Lem. Important to note as well, we can hear some sort of squeaky noises around us. There was one there. Whenever you hear that, be very careful. That is the sound of a bellfly, one of the creatures that greeted us when we first came in. It means one is hiding nearby, ready to ambush you, and they can be super deadly if you are not expecting them. Whoa, whoops, hang on, I'm not sure I'm done up here. Okay. I believe opening that lever opened the door beneath us and up here above us, which was important. Let's go ahead and drop on back down. Now, Lem said something interesting. He mentioned the importance of appreciating things for their aesthetic purposes. And I could not agree more. It is something that applies hugely to the City of Tears here. I love the architecture in this city. And something else that I love a lot is the fact that all the spikes here are unique. They're just bits of architecture. They're not... Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot, shoot, shoot. They're not just like spiky ground like we've seen, or in Deep Nest, indeed, it had its own unique spikes, which was... Oh, shoot. No, 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 I want to beat that. Okay. Which were like those spiky larvae keeping us from traveling on. They're actually just bits of architecture, which makes so much sense when you think about it. Everything here is also designed in a way that does put me sort of in mind of a hive. When we see the towers from the outside, they seem to have these sort of bulbous shells on the outside, which reminds me of eggs that you might see on the outside of another hive. What we're looking through here, hang on, I missed something. Oh, right here. Oh, shoot, I wasn't listening. Okay, alright, we're good. This is a first for us. We have found a rancid egg. It's not super clear what that is. It's definitely not a relic. But we will have to wait until later to find out just what that's for. They are fairly common things, but their purpose is not super clear. So the main gimmicks of exploring the City of Tears are fairly clear. Whoops. They are elevators and locked doors. There are locked doors everywhere. We've already unlocked like half a dozen of them just in this one tower that we've been exploring. A grub! Hooray! Splendid, splendid. So we've already unlocked so many doors throughout our time here alone. And there are so many more to come, like that one! We've got a bit of an arena fight ahead of us. against one of each of the sentries that we've come across so far. Nothing too troubling, but it can take you by surprise. Up here at the top, we'll find some very familiar humming. Huh. I haven't talked to Cornifer yet, so he's not saying the City of Tears dialogue. Hang on. Well, that's another thing that I'm going to put up on screen, his dialogue for what he mentions about the city. Hey, our first map. This is just kind of awkward. And that'll open up his shop in Dirtmouth. But now we have our map, and importantly, we can see the Dirtmouth map is an inherent part of any map that we buy, which is kind of interesting. Not something I think most people realize, because most people will just have bought the Forgotten Crossroads map. This toll bench is also a new thing for us. We've seen toll gates blocking benches, but a toll bench, that's a new one for us. We're going to continue on this way, and this is something that I actually didn't think I was going to be able to show off. Because I already rescued Zote in Deep Nest, this interaction with him was blocked off from me. So this is actually sort of a pleasant surprise that I get to show this right here. Oi, watch where you're going, you soggy vagabond. I don't want you splashing me. I've had a miserable time trying to keep dry. I am Zote the Mighty, a knight of great renown. If I decide that I'm going to stay dry, then that's what's going to happen. Curse this wretched city. Water and monsters constantly fall from above. It's no wonder this blasted kingdom fell to ruin. Have you seen them? The guards who patrol this city even after dying? Humph. Being overly devoted to one's duty is no virtue. Once again, he has introduced himself to us, despite the fact we literally saved his life. As I said, that interaction will be blocked off from us should we have already saved him from Deep Nest. But what that was funny. The only way to see it is to have rescued him from Green Path, met him again in Dirtmouth, and then found him here. So we have just opened a nice shortcut back to the entrance of the city. I'll show you where we are now. Right over here. It's interesting we don't have the quill right now either. This is all going... It's all feeling kind of ramshackle. The way things are going. But that's okay. Right over here, we'll find something interesting. This interesting sort of tree. This is the first of these that I've personally seen on this run, but we could have encountered one or two so far if you've been really diligent about exploring. Unclear what they're for right now, but perhaps we'll discover very soon. Uh-oh. Ouch. Perfectly alright. I don't know why he dashed that way. Ow! So these winged sentries, there are two different varieties of them. There are ones with swords and ones with spears. The spears have a ranged attack, whereas the swords do not. And the ranged attack of the spears can actually be deflected with our nail. And we can even send the spear back to them. Return it to sender, which is pretty cool to do, but it's very difficult to get the angles to line up just right on that. The most important thing that we're going to find up here is in this room. These guys actually feel kind of similar to the Mantis Hunters. Now we have found a simple key. Our first of a few that we can find. We actually already know that Sly sells one up in Dirtmouth. If you've been diligent, you may already have that one, and this would be your second. So we are ready for any lock that we encounter now. We'll have to think hard about where to use that. Up here, we're in an area called the City storerooms. Not anything else that I might have been about to say. And we find ourselves another Wanderer's Journal. We'll have to sell that to Lem whenever we get that opportunity. First things first, let's hop on up here. Excuse me, sir. I don't like the fact that I don't have wings. I wish I had them now that I see you. But we'll head through here and find ourselves another stag station. Now we have our first sort of casualty of the fact that I forgot to hit record, is that in my proper file I got an achievement for doing that, which was Connection. An achievement for unlocking half of the stag stations throughout Hallownest, which is a really big landmark, and it's kind of a shame we don't get to see that celebrated with an achievement here. He's going to give me his first dialogue because I have not unlocked any stag stations so far. I am kicking myself right now for being so hasty. Let's see if he mentions anything else. I remember this station well. A common trip it was. Goods from all over the kingdom were transported here. Not a lot was sent back the other way, though. That is a relief. He does still say that dialogue at least. So I won't have to edit that in. Yay! This is basically the same as if I hadn't forgot to hit record. I'm never gonna forget again, I swear. More importantly, however, this toll station unlocks a huge ornate elevator down in front of us. Before we ride up it, though, I want to point out this door. This is the other side of a metal door that you may have noticed in the Fungal Waste, and it's interesting for being just about the only closed or locked door in this entire world that we can never open. It is completely impossible to open up that shortcut, which is kind of weird. I wonder if they intended us to be able to do that or not, and just forgot or ran out of time or what. But it stands as a barrier that is impassable. Up here at the top of the elevator, it's not super clear where we are, but we may find out in a moment. The palette certainly looks familiar. We're definitely not in the City of Tears anymore. Down here at the bottom, we'll find ourselves a nice little prize. A vessel fragment. In my main file, that would be our second. Not our first, but not a huge deal there. At least I didn't miss showing off what happens when you get a third one. And back out this way, we see that we have made our way back once again to the Forgotten Crossroads. This is another just really cool instance of the world reconnecting and folding back in on itself. Always so freaking awesome. Ignore this. This isn't happening right now. That didn't happen. Shush. While we're here, I do want to check back in with Salubra. Because even though this is technically my first time and I haven't bought all the stuff that I had bought, I want to point out that in my main file, I purchased the Lifeblood Heart before heading elsewhere, which is rather significant. I do recommend grabbing that. You're going to want it for something a little bit later. And as long as we're here, we might as well check in on Mila once again.
This is hard work, but I don't mind. Down here, I can keep working without even sleeping. It's fun. And every once in a while, you could come visit me. I'm glad. I'm glad you like the sound of my voice.
Precious Mila. Always a joy to check in on you. There's also one more thing I want to hear from our stag friend. That pass you hold, is it not for that ghastly machine, the tram? I hope you're not thinking of riding that grotesque contraption. The thought a mere machine could attempt what we stags do. Foolish. Very foolish. It is very funny that the stag holds other forms of public transit in such total contempt. But I believe that we are going to do exactly what he wants us not to do. For we have seen a tram or two on our journey. Perhaps we haven't recognized them for what they are. But real fast before we do that, we're going to take on this really well-hidden Geo-Rock. Super well-hidden, actually. Very fun. Anyway, a door with an open slot. Insert the tram pass. It lights up inside. It looks really cozy in there. Inside, we get another bench and a glowing button. I always press glowing things. It's a little bit disturbing to travel with corpses on the seats, but you know, you take what you can get. That takes us to a new area we have no map for. But let's see just what we can find, wherever it is we are. Cursed are those who turn against the king. Well, I'll have to keep that in mind. Thank you, Stone Monument. And that is a trio of symbols that we may find familiar if you've been paying a lot of attention. Oop. But they don't seem that friendly to have trapped us in a snow globe. To protect the vessel, the dreamers lay sleeping. Monomon, the teacher, in her archive surrounded by fog and mist. Lurian, the watcher, in his spire looking over the city. Hera, the beast, in her den amidst the deep darkness beyond the kingdom. Through their devotion, Hallownest lasts eternal.
Go no further, little shadow. What compels it to climb out of the darkness? What compels its return to this sacred kingdom? A call from beyond the seals? By the vessel, or by that captive light? Would the seals break? They cannot be undone. But the vessel weakens, that plague springs anew. They must be undone. Yet our seals remain, our duty holds. It must be cast away. Our duty holds, it shall be done. Fade away, little shadow. Fade away, and let us sleep in peace.